right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Stock Analysis Friday. Great to have everybody here. And of course, today is August 22nd, 2025. All right, I was up pretty late last night trading the NASDAQ on the Asian and London markets. It's pretty active. They're kind of funny overnight because sometimes things are very slow and then you see a big break on them. So you really kind of have to pay attention. Anyway, I'm a little disheveled today. I didn't get much sleep, but I am ready to go. All right, so for today, type in the stocks you want me to look at. Let's do no more than 3 at a time. I think that's a really good format. And let me know when you type those in. Type them in caps, and then let me know if you're long or thinking about a trade, and it could be a short trade too, or if you're already in it and you want some advice on where to put your stop and what you think is going to happen. So we'll do that. All right, so I want to go through a few quick administrational items. So let me turn off the cam here and go over and get that done. First thing I have to talk about, of course, are the risks involved in trading the financial markets. Like I always say, without that risk, there is no opportunity. So the two really do go hand in hand, but you need to be prepared for the risk. And first of all, always use money you can afford to risk when you trade the financial markets. That's called risk capital, obviously. And then also, too, know what your risk is going to be on each and every trade. So always know where your stop's going to be, and also, too, what your potential goal is. And then always try to go for a risk to reward of 2 to 1. Unless you're scalping, you can change that around a little bit. All right, and what else can I tell you? All right, so the other thing, too, is always check with your financial advisor to be sure whatever we cover here is suitable for you, because I don't know your personal situation. They certainly should and can advise you better than I can on that. All right, in terms of money management, I wanted to point this out. I've got a couple books here, The Trader's Money Management System and Money Management for Traders on Risk Control. That should probably be one of the top books you should get right away, especially if you're new to this. My Art of Trading book is a great book as well. Just came out this year. It's 608 pages. Goes into a deep dive, and it also covers advanced risk control techniques as well. And that was published by Wiley. And then I've got my next publisher, McGraw-Hill, had me do Elliott Wave Technique Simplified. And then we have Wiley doing Survival Guide for Traders. So check that out. We'll put some links in the recording at the bottom for you. While I'm on this, please check out, guess what? We've got a brand new website. So go to www.traderscoach.com and check it out. Let us know what you think. Send any feedback to Gene@traderscoach.com. And also, too, we have a Discord channel now, and that's in the upper left-hand side. You can access that through the website. We'll put a link for that below the bottom as well. So we're doing quite a few new type of branding things to get current, of course, with the younger population as well. Everybody loves Discord. It is pretty good, I got to tell you. All right, so this is the software that we use, and it's software I created. That's called the Applied Reality Trading Software, or known for ART for short. And we have the OWL, PTF, TLM, and ERI. I have scanners under that and risk control software under that. So today, primarily, you're going to see me use the charting software, because you're going to give me the stock, so I don't have to scan for those today. All right, and then I guess we'll wrap it up in terms of the intro with the like, subscribe, and share. All right, help support the channel by doing that as well. All right, so let me get out of here, and I want to just quickly go over the Dow Jones a little bit and a couple of the indexes here before we jump into your stocks. So we have a move back up. As I said last week and several weeks ago, it's just a matter of time before the Dow broke into a new high, and it's doing that pretty aggressively today. But we are getting into an area that we have to keep an eye on, because it is a major top that we're gnawing into here. Now, we could go up quite a bit higher. I mean, we could go, close to 50,000 before it's all over. Hard to know exactly when. But for right now, we're going to take a look at it. And if you want to keep up to date on these indexes, I'll put a link below for the MOR report. And the MOR stands for Market Opportunity Report. It is a subscription service. And I do that, basically update it every week on Sunday with both a video explaining what's going on in the markets, as well as a report that also includes our stock picks. So you may be interested in that. And again, that would help support the channel. All right, so that's kind of where we are here. We're moving up, nice rebound off that. Let's take a look real quick. S&P is going to be similar. And let's take a real quick look at the NASDAQ here as well. So that kind of dipped below. You can see on the weekly chart on the far right, dipped below the trend line and then bounced above it. So I think probably we could have another leg up and on the NASDAQ as well. So we'll keep an eye on that. And S&P is going to be very similar. But anyway, if you want a more detailed look into this, again, I do this in a service called MOR, or it stands for Market Opportunity. And then one last one today is Bitcoin. All right, I want to take a quick look at that. So Bitcoin was kind of interesting. It looked like it was moving towards the target here on this leg up, reversed. Now, a couple of things. I'm going to enlarge this just a little bit. So we have an order block down here. That's this gray here. I'll put OB for order block. In order for you to have an order block, you have to have a fair value gap after the order block. If you do not have a fair value gap after the order block, it's technically not considered an order block. So that's kind of one thing you got to keep in mind. But we had actually several fair value gaps. This one being one here, okay? And notice how we came down to that, made a new high, and it's offering support again. So we'll keep an eye on that. We also have an order block here. I mean, not an order block, a fair value gap right down here. We have not really gnawed into that. I'm not concerned with Bitcoin unless we go below one of our indicators called the pyramid trading point, which sits far enough below the order block that we shouldn't go below that, okay? So even if it comes down into the order block, which is not unusual, all right, we should be okay. I'm expecting more highs on Bitcoin. My target is 127 to 159, and will probably coincide with a stock market top, okay? So we'll keep an eye on that, and we cover this also in the MOR report. All right, so I just like to go over those real quickly, just to give you a heads up. And good morning to everybody. I'm getting a lot of good mornings out there. Good morning to you. All right, Ed's here, Al's here. Great to have you guys here. All right, let's see what we got. I think Ed, I think Al, you're the first one up here. All right, AGIO, AGIO, and this is long with a question mark. So this is one Al is considering. So let's take a look at that. All right, so let's take a look at the bigger picture. So I've got the weekly chart with our indicators on it on the far right, the daily chart on the far left. All right, so the PTF, which is our indicator here, all right, on both charts. We've got the same software loaded on both charts. Basically, that's yellow, so that's neutral, okay? So right now, that's not going to give us any clues as to what's going on. But I do see some price structure here that's kind of interesting. So we've got a huge wick here on this particular price bar. So that means we had sellers pushing it down, being met with buyers pushing it up. So usually when you have a wick like this, somebody got trapped down here. That's usually the sellers, okay? If you want to see a little bit more who that is, you can get two pieces of additional software, order flow, which I do use, and also Bookmap, which I use as well. Okay, so that helps you identify areas like that. But in any case, in terms of just looking at the charts, notice that also too where this stopped, it stopped right here at this particular significant area of structure. Okay, and probably an order block because it looks like we had a fair value gap there. So that kind of put it out. It took a lot of equity out. So I think probably now it's clear to make a new high. The only issue that I see on this right now is that you've got a huge bearish fair value gap here, okay? And we may see some resistance when you get up there. So we got to kind of keep an eye on that. So it's not a slam dunk for a new high, but I think it's probably a slam dunk up to around 50 bucks, okay? So I do think you're going to get a break of this high here. You've already got a break of structure. So let's see how much history is on this thing. Yeah, so I'm a little concerned about that. That's the only thing that's causing me concern, but I think you're good up to about 50 bucks. I don't think I'm going to put this one on the watch list because also too, you have to put your stop below this pyramid here. You cannot put it down here. It's just too far. Okay. So the other issue is when you get a situation where you get a large wick like this, there are times when prices will drive down into the fib retracement of that wick. All right, so you got to keep that in mind too. Normally, the way I like to trade these is put the stop below that wick, or even put the order to buy in the 50% fib retracement area. But in any case, I do think you're good up until about 50 bucks, Al, on that one. All right, let's take a look at the next one, WDAY. Now, if you want to learn more about order blocks using our software or price action, we do have coaching sessions. I do them personally. I have a bunch of them right now. I do with people literally around the world, because with the software today, you don't need to be in a local area. So if that interests you, let us know. All right, give us a shout out. All right, so on this right away, we got PTFs that are green. Okay, so that is a good sign for more highs, but the price action is still coming down. We have bearish pyramids here and kind of a bearish setup here. So you don't want to catch a falling knife, so to speak, but we should have an area where we could have a reversal pretty soon. You've got some clear support in this area here. You can notice we have 1, 2, 3, 4 areas where we could have a possible, well, we did have 3 areas of the turnaround, and now you've got a bullish wick down here. So we should, this wick should hold, and if it doesn't, then that means it's probably going to go down and take some more equity out, and maybe even go down into this area here. So I would not jump into this yet. Let's wait for it to turn around first. Okay, so no go on that one. And FSLR, let's take a look at that one. All right, let's see what we got cooking on this one. Obviously, we've looked at this before. I can see by the fair value gaps I've drawn in. All right, so a green PTF on the left chart and a red one on the right chart. So that usually confuses a lot of people when they see that. So this is the daily chart. This is the weekly chart. So we've got green here and red here. People like, oh, how can that happen? Well, you read them from left to right, lower time frame to higher time frame. And so when you have a green PTF, that usually is what's going to happen before the weekly. So it looks to me like we have one more high coming, all right? And then that particular one more high could be met by selling pressure, driving it down for a low. And that's kind of how you read that. So in this case here, we've had already 1, 2, 3 pyramids since this support area. So, you kind of want to get in a little earlier than where we are now. You've also got some structure here. You took out some liquidity up here. I think you did right there. All right, so you have a little bit of a move down. Should get another move up, but again, you got to be a little careful here, because like the other one, just, draw a trend line. Don't go in. If that's a bull flag, don't go in until you close above that trend line, right? So that would be a trade, and then put your stop at the bottom of whatever the pullback is, or the pyramid, depending on what you want to use. All right, but looks like probably a little bit of a pullback here, and then one more high, and then probably taking it up into this region of structure here again. So not my favorite, okay, because I think it's got too much headwind to go, even once it breaks the high, but you may get a little push up from there to take out the current high on the daily chart. All right, let's take a look at FSLR. All right, so did I miss one? Obviously, hold on. Let me see. I might have missed one, right? WDAY maybe. Let's see. Yeah, I missed this one, I think. Okay, so on this one here, all right, we've got a sloping downtrend on the daily chart, green PTFs on both charts. but wait for this thing to turn around. It's not turned around yet. You still have pyramids pointing down. All right. Thank you, Al. All right, Ed, how are you? Okay, FINV, congrats on buying the trade confirmer scanner. I think you'll really love it. Okay, so let's see what we got here. You're up 17%. All right. Okay, so right away I see a red PTF now here. Okay, and I have a green one on the right. Now it was green and it turned to red. So what that means is this low that formed here had strong enough momentum to change the personality of that indicator from bullish to bearish, which means that we're probably going to get one more low on this. So what I would do is stay with it because it's obviously broken its high. So the definition of an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. We've got a little bit of structure here, and it looks like probably a small little order block here. So you're probably hitting that right about now. All right. So you can expect, let's see what happens when it hits that area. If it goes above here and keeps going, great, but I don't think it will. I think it will maybe sell off from here. I would just draw a trend line. Unless you really want to be in this for a long time, just draw a trend line like this, and when it closes below the trend line, get out, okay? I wouldn't necessarily say that if the PTF was not red. Okay, so keep that in mind. All right, that's in AP, snap. Potential buy, okay? Let's take a look. All right, no longer a red PTF, which is good on the daily chart. You have not had a turnaround yet, okay? It's too early to buy this, but keep looking at it because you may have an exhaustion gap. That's an actual gap right here on the far right-hand side of that daily chart. Let's see if there's any more equity that can be taken here. Okay, there's a little bit more. Let's put a line here. Okay. Ooh, they could go for that equity. They're getting kind of close there. I'm not saying they did take out equity here. And you do have green here. But again, very quickly, just take a trend line. You still got a downtrend in place there. You still got a couple down. This is another good way to do this is to draw a couple of them. So you have a situation like that. All right. And then you have a short-term one more like that, right? So you can do two. So while it's below those, I don't think I would consider any long trade yet. Okay. So I think you'll be able to look at this next week with us and we'll take another look. Okay. So that's snap. All right. So no buy on that. DELL, Dell up 14%. And you're long, of course, these. All right, so let's take a look at bad boy Dell. All right, so Dell, target on Dell is 151 to 207. So we still got some room up, but we're due for a pullback. And so I think that's kind of what we're experiencing now. Worst case scenario could come down to this fib retracement. I don't think it's going to get anywhere near there. In fact, this is kind of almost a micro channel up. So, you know, if you wanted to take profits on that, you could take it on that trend line. But if you haven't already, don't, because instead look for another buy if it breaks the bull flag, okay? Let's see where some significant area is here. We've got structure here, okay? Just draw it right on this pyramid here that's marking the structure. So you got structure there. Let's see if we have a fair value gap after that big move up. Give that a second. All right, hold on. Okay, let's see if we have a fair value gap there. Had a little bit of a freeze there. Oh, it's freezing again. Doesn't like me doing that. Okay, so what I'm looking at here is on this area here, we had a little bit of a fair value gap after this. So this is an order block down in here. So that should hold, okay? Unless this goes into a major retracement, okay? Then we're gonna have problems. All right, so let me just see what's going on with that chart. And let me type in another one. Okay, I think we're back. All right, so I would, in terms of that, I think you can hold that. All right, now, trip. Let's see what comes up on trip. Give that a second to load. My daily chart's being a little sluggish over here. Okay, we're good. All right, so short. Okay, are you short or are you thinking of short? All right, so let's see what you got here. I would not be short here, okay, simply because, you got some support. We came down here. We had a bounce off here. You have all these areas here that possibly could be penetrated, obviously, in a short trade, but it's not screaming out to me to be short. The only thing that's screaming out is this price bar here, okay, with a long wick. I do like that, all right? And we did come up to the fib retracement, so that's a good sign. We have liquidity here. We don't have any liquidity until down there. Most of the liquidity, if you look on the weekly chart over here, is all above it, right? All above it. So you have a lot of buy liquidity. So think about it. If you were an institution, where is the liquidity? Is it down here or up here? It's probably up. So I would imagine they'll drive it up from here. Now that doesn't mean that you couldn't make possibly, maybe this thing will take another dive down, fill this gap to 15, and then it go higher. But it's not screaming short to me. What screams short to me is a wick like that inside a fair value gap. Okay, so it's not really screaming that to me right now. Okay, it did take out equity here. Okay, so that's a good sign. But again, it's not screaming. Okay, so I would personally pass on that, but I get why you're showing it. All right, XRX. And short for this one, too late. Okay, green PTF here. So it's, look how long it's been going down. It's at $3.92. All right, VAPE. Let's take a look at that one. Is that legit? Check that symbol, okay? I'm checking to see if I typed it incorrectly. I think I did. So it's not coming up. So it may be a typo in the symbol. All right, let's keep going here. All right, Ed, let's take a look at yours. SLB. SLB. All right, so up 2%. Okay, so I don't know when exactly you got into this, okay, but we have red PTFs on both time frames, okay? So I would not have taken a long trade on this yet, okay? Now, you're in a range, and the range basically is from up here, this area here, basically, to down here. I'll just put it down here, okay? So you're kind of in a range. So you'll see the market go up and down inside that range until it trends. So that's kind of what you're experiencing now. Now, that doesn't mean it can't bottom here and go up, but the PTFs are saying no, okay? It's probably going to come down again. So we'll see what happens with that. And in a range, this is where you scalp. Okay, when you get to the top of a range and so forth. Then you have to be good at knowing when the range is done. So usually ranges are kind of funny types of things. They have 4 points of range. 1, 2, 3, 4. So usually after 4 points, then it becomes more of a possibility of a trend developing. We're not sure which way. Now, we may get a certain situation where you have contraction here. All right. We have a little bit of manipulation here, and then down it comes like that. Okay, so that's possible. We have a little equity, a little lower on the weekly chart that I want to bring your attention to that has not been taken out. So my guess is they'll take that out. There's also liquidity down here and here. So I don't think it's done coming down, okay? So I don't think I would take that. If you're up 2%, what I would do is if you see a reversal bar on the daily chart, get out. All right, let's take a look at UNG. UNG, we got stopped out of UNG. That was one we were hoping a bottom was in and it wasn't. Okay, so at that particular point here, we're out. Okay, and we'll try again another day on this one. But for right now, there's no reason to be long. Okay, not unless you're holding this forever and you don't mind it going down a little bit further. But from a trading standpoint, it's still trending down at this point, and the bottom didn't hold. Okay, let's take a look at SEZL. Potential buy. Okay, let's see. All right, so this one, not a heck of a lot of history. So one thing that's nice is you're not buying a top. Okay, it's pulled back. I love that. All right, so the question is, okay, so the owl on the weekly chart is saying this is a wave 3, so that's good, and it looks like it. So that's a 3. So we're probably we're still technically in 3, even though this pulled back, simply because this has not gone red yet. You have to have a red owl on the time frame you're analyzing for that to be considered a 4. So even though we've had this big pullback, that may be a minor 4 inside of 3. So 3 may still be underway. Now, in terms of this chart, we have the minor 4 and actually got labeled as a 3, which it does sometimes if the pullback is pretty hard. But obviously, when you look at price action, you can see this is the 3. Okay, I mean, that is a 3. Look at it. Okay, again, it's the most biggest wave. So this is not the 3. This is the correction. So sometimes the owl, because of the way in which it looks for extremes, will put a wave 3 and a C wave if it's an extreme, and this one certainly was. All right, so what do you do with this? All right, well, you have a nice ABC pullback, right? So that's looking good. You're having some movement off that. We still have a red owl. Of course, that could change. Let's see if there's any equity or order blocks that this thing could still shoot for. And it looks pretty good. I don't see much here. So you got a nice move up off here. Okay, no question. You had 2 nice wicks here. So if you wanted to take an early entry, you could do it to the long side. Put your stop under, okay, under the bottom. Because what could still happen is we could still get a move down. We actually stopped, it looks like, in this little area of structure. And the order block really isn't until down where this pyramid is. Okay, so you have a little bit of structure there. So that's the thing. I mean, it could go down a little further, but for right now, it's doing the right things for a possible long. Just keep your stop under here. Okay, I'm not going to recommend that one because of the fact that we have an order block sitting a little lower. Okay, so a little concern on that. And we have a huge bearish bar on the weekly chart. So we may retrace halfway up that before it turns back and heads south. So there's some things about it not so great. Okay, just passing that on. All right, let's keep going here. All right, Gene, yep, happy Friday, everybody. All right, let's see here. Jim Blue is here. Good morning, Jim. Good to see you the other day. All right, let's see. Oh, Gene's showing off our website, www.traderscoach.com, and check it out. Whenever you start a new website, there's always a few things you need to fix and correct and tweak. So take a look at it. If you see something that doesn't make sense to you, let us know because it's always helpful to get actual feedback. And Gene's going to talk about our Discord channel too, as well. So there that is. definitely join that. I'll tell you, we're kind of moving most of our interactive stuff to Discord. I'm going to start being on that every day. All right. So if you need to reach out to me, there's a general chat area where you can DM me, which is what they say. All the young people are on it. So that's kind of why we want to be there for them as well, and capture that segment of the population, because we've been around so long that we kind of are so used to doing things the way they were done that technology changes, so we got to catch up with that. So Discord and a new website is our way of doing that, and check it out for us and join Discord. It's free, and you can post charts. You can talk to other art traders. We're going to probably do most of our presentations eventually on Discord. We probably won't do this one. This one will keep on YouTube. Certain ones will keep on YouTube, but there will be some Discord situations. We'll probably move our day trading room over to Discord and things like that. So you can check it out. All right. Stuart, S-I. How are you? S-I. R-I. Let's see what we got cooking there. All right, so I'm not sure if you're long, but I would imagine you're thinking about long or thinking about going long. Okay, so we've got definitely a bottom here, right? So I think kind of in this case here, we're ranging. After you get a big trend, the market, it's not unusual for the market to range. Now, you've heard of V bottoms and V tops. Basically, after the market turns abruptly, goes from one trend to another trend, right? And you get that in both directions. That's kind of unusual, all right? Most of the time when a market trends, it goes into a bracket before it does anything else, okay? So usually it goes from trend to range to trend. That's kind of most of the time what happens, but occasionally you get those V shapes. So you're kind of in a bracket here. So you had a nice move down, range. Has it broken out of the range? Not really. So the problem is that should it break out of the range? Well, we got a green PTF saying basically we should break 27.35. And with the PTF, what you do is you take the highest price in the PTF green area for the most part, and that is your target. So you have kind of that. You have a red owl. You have kind of a sloppy price action here. So I think I'd kind of wait. You still technically have an active pyramid to the downside on the weekly chart that has not been stopped out yet. All right, so that kind of is same thing with the daily chart too. So I think maybe we got to get a break out of this range, or maybe take out another low here. Which, let's see if there's any equity sitting down here that it may shoot for. Yeah, there's a little bit right around this area here. Okay, and also another one here. So I think at this particular point, let's wait for that equity to get taken out and see if we get a reversal. All right. Maybe it won't get taken out. Maybe we'll get a reversal now, but currently it's not. So don't do anything with that. All right. Ooh, let's see. Ooh, it's hot. He's in San Diego. So hot in San Diego. It's hot here in Arizona too. Well, I'm telling you. But I've heard San Diego's been pretty hot, which is unusual for you, not unusual for us. All right, let's keep going. Ed's back with the DOC, D-O-C-N. Let's take a look at that one. And potential buy. Okay. Hey, good job telling me what you want to do here. All right. Well, right away, a couple things. The daily chart's got a red PTF. So not quite on that yet. Yeah, we could be marching along a bottom here, but with a red PTF, I think we may have a little bit more to go to the downside. We did take out equity on the weekly chart recently, which was a good sign, which is probably why you got this big movement up. But now you've got a long wick bar here. It's kind of it's almost like it's still in the range. Okay, so I think I'd stay out of this one. All right, let's take a look at VKTX. VKTX. All right, let's take a look at this here. Okay, so you're long on this one. Okay, and you're down. Well, I can see why. Look at the gap out of nowhere. Okay, well, PTF's still green on both charts, but we are heading back down. And let's take a look and see here. All right, so we went up to the fib. This was our minimum target here in case it did what it did, sold off again. The weekly chart, so we've already gone down. If this was a 3, you can't violate wave 1, right? So that's not a 3 anymore. Okay, so that's one thing you got to realize there. So that's an extremely bearish bar on the weekly chart. Usually when a price bar is large and takes out 3 of the previous bars, you usually have continuation in that trend. Okay, so that is the problem with that. Now, did it go below the pyramid? Looks like it did. Let's just double check that. I got my data window on the other chart. So 23.21 and 23.80. So it went below that. So let's just see if there's any other reason for it to stop here. You've got an order block here, right here. Okay, so I guess the way I would do that at this time, we also got one below that one too. So that order block created some support. I don't like that price bar, but we have green PTFs and we have a situation where we have an order block there. We may even have one down here at the bottom. I'm just wondering if they're going for this equity down here. That's the only thing. That's where it becomes a little tough. So I guess what I would do here is if you wanted to stay with this, put your stop under this low here. But that is such a decisively bad situation on that bar that you might just want to think about getting out and then getting back in. Okay, so if it goes below this low here, just on this price bar on the weekly chart, just get out. Okay, you can always go back in. All right. So the idea is sometimes when you hang on these, they go a lot lower than you think because they're going for equity. And all of a sudden you got to have a huge turnaround in order just to break even. That's not so good. You're better off to just to get out, see how far it does go, and then go back in. All right. So that's kind of where I'm at on that one. All right. So let's see. And the spider. So SPY on that. Okay. This is for Sam. All right. Let's take a look at the spider. Well, you're looking at a micro channel trend. So here's a quick thing on this. All right, red PTF over here. All right, and everything is hunky dory to the upside here. A couple things to do here. One is let's just count right away the bull flags. Okay, you had one here. You had one here at the pyramids, just about one here, one here, one here. Okay. So usually after 3, I become a little careful on taking additional bear flags. I'll take a 4th one, but depends on what the weekly chart's looking like. All right, so there you have that. You also have multiple pyramids, okay, in a row. So that's also a big deal. All right, so you're at a mature part. Also, you're making new highs. And we're having bearish divergence, right? So you got new highs like that. So you got bearish divergence. You got this baby sitting here red, all right? But, you know, the PTF doesn't tell you what the market's going to do. It's just telling you eventually, saying eventually we should come down and go below that low, all right, on the next leg down. But right now we're not on that leg. So we're still going up. We got a micro channel on the weekly chart as well. So if we draw that in, I mean, that's pretty tight, okay? So usually with a micro channel, you don't have a very severe bull flag yet appearing on the micro channel. So I would imagine on the weekly chart, what will happen here is when this thing finally breaks down, we'll get a micro channel with another high. So I think we got more highs coming on this market. Now, with that said, in the spider and the NASDAQ and everything, we're already in the target zone, right? So we could just go higher up into the target zone. But this target zone is based off a bull run that we've been in since 2009. So, folks, eventually this party's going to end. But, right now it looks like the party's still going on full blast. So, enjoy the party while we can, is basically. So in any case here, you got a trend line here. If you were concerned and wanted to take some profits off the table when you break the trend line, that's fine. Also, too, if you're not an active trader, but you're just thinking about your investments, sell into strength, raise cash for the next bear market. That's the other way to look at it. Just ask Warren Buffett. He's been doing that. He's got all his money. He's got quite a bit of money in treasuries right now, and he's happy earning that 4 and 5% while he's waiting for the catastrophe, okay, which is a bear market. So just keep that in mind. If you're an investor, traders, no problem, because you got stops in place. You can trade this last remaining bull leg as much as you want because you have stops. So it's a little different than a longer term investor. All right, so there you have that. Hopefully that was good enough there, Samuel, for you. So it's still in an uptrend. All right, TRIP, T-R-I-P. And Al, this is for you. Okay, so you're short on this or thinking of a short. Not sure if you're short or thinking of a short. I would not be short here, okay? I'm just going to say that on that, okay? XRX. Let's see what you got cooking on this bad boy here. All right, short. I would not be short on this either, okay? It's too late. It's not that it's not going to go down, but it's you got a green PTF there. Vape. Not getting anything on vape. VAPE. I think that was that one we had a hard time. Okay, Jim's asking me, recently stopped using the 60-minute chart on the MTF analysis. Why the change? It's simply because it slowed down the chart loading, and it was slowing it down a lot on the stock analysis Friday stuff that we're doing here. So as long as I have the daily and the weekly, I'm good. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, and Gene's coming on. Thanks for all the likes. Yeah, appreciate that. Good. All right, so anybody have anything else for today? Going once, going twice. That's it? Boy, quickie today, huh? All right, I think we had, boy, I can't even read my own handwriting. I think we had SEZL. Was that one that we thought was halfway decent? Let's take a look at that. See if I can remember that one. Yeah, I think it was this one. So this was the one that we got some green PTF here. We got some wicks here. I just didn't like that large price bar. So probably not thinking about this one for a long trade. So I'm gonna move that one to a watch list and watch it. So there you have it. All right. Well, I think that's it. All right, everybody. Well, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully that was helpful for you. And again, we'll be back next week. So we really didn't find anything that was like a home run type of trade. And that's, part of trading is finding sometimes a needle in the haystack. And if you don't find it, you're better off to just keep looking, right? So great to have you all here. And again, if you're interested in day trading or you're interested in anything to do with the overall markets in terms of tops and targets, definitely check out our services on that and take a look at our website as well. And again, give us any feedback. Same thing with Discord, okay? All right. Well, you guys are great. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay cool. And we'll see you back here next week, and have a great week. And I'll just put the charts back on and put a little music up there. And great.